All right, so I'm at the exact spot of the Jacob Wetterling abduction in St. Joseph, Minnesota. And St. Joseph is a small town. It's about 75 miles northwest of Minneapolis. And so I guess what happened here is on the night of October 22nd, 1989, Jacob Wetterling, his younger brother, and a friend of theirs left the Wetterling residence, which is right over up there, up this road about half a mile. And it's over there in them trees. This is actually a dead-end road, eventually, up there. And so they left the Wetterling residence, and they were going to go to the Tom Thumb convenience store to get a movie, to rent a movie. So they went on down, all the way down here, about another mile to the Tom Thumb convenience store. It's a veterinary clinic now. But they went and they rented a movie, and it was The Naked Gun. And so they started riding back on their bicycles down that road right there, and they got to this point, right in front of this driveway. And a man wearing all black and had a black mask came out of this driveway and told the three kids to throw their bikes in the ditch, and which they did, and they threw them in the ditch right here, right on that spot. And then he told them to lay down on the pavement, which was right there. And he focused on Jacob for some reason, and he told the other two kids to run through the woods and not look back and not make any noise. And so they ran through these woods right here. And at the time, I guess these trees, these woods came out a little farther. But so when they did finally look back, they didn't see anything. Jacob and the man were both gone. And so the next day, what commenced was actually at that time, the largest search for a missing person in United States history. Unfortunately, Jacob was not found. And that was about it until 1994. Well, in 1994, Congress passed and President Clinton signed into law the Wetterling Act, which created the National Sex Offender Registry. Well, let me look at my notes here. Whoop. And then, without a suspect, really, in this case, what happened was the police started focusing on Dan Rossier. Now, he lived right up this driveway, and he lives in a farmhouse right up there. And he lived there with his elderly parents. He was a music teacher. And so they started focusing on him, which to me is a complete waste of police resources. I think they probably just did it to make it look like they were doing something, because he would be the last person that would I don't know, it just seems to me if you're going to abduct a child, you wouldn't do it in your own front yard. You'd go do it in somebody else's front yard, and that's exactly what happened. The actual guy that did it came to somebody else's front yard and did it, and that front yard happened to belong to Dan Rossier and his family. And what they did, actually as late as 2010, the police got a search warrant for the Rossier residence, and they searched his home over there, and they also brought in backhoes, and they dug up all this property around here looking for Jacob. Of course, they never found him. And that was it until about 2015, when a man named Danny Heinrich admitted that he was the one who had waited in this driveway for those kids, and he had abducted Jacob. And within 3 hours of the abduction, Jacob was murdered. And he led police to the body, and it was buried in a field in a town called Painesville, which is about 30 miles from where I'm at. And that's about all I can tell you about the Jacob Wetterling story. But it just so happens that if you want to know more about Jacob Wetterling and the story, there's going to be this Friday night, this coming Friday, October 13th, 2020, is going to do a two-hour episode featuring Jacob Wetterling, so on ABC. So if you want to know the Jacob Wetterling story, you can tune into that. And if you're watching this video after that, of course you can stream it, do whatever you want to do. But there it is, a place where a terrible thing happened.